Hi there, Skull from my six blades. Um, I imagine this is like the first, not official day of lockdown in the UK, but the first day where pubs, clubs, gyms, theatres, discotheque are all been shut. Um, so we're all sort of focusing on what's going on in the country. Um, the supermarkets are hammering the stuff out as fast as possible, but the panic buying is still continuing. Now, without betraying the trust of the person I've had a few heads up with, were a few worries, present situation considered, that I had. We had a bit of a chat. One thing I'm not concerned about, but I'm just waiting for it to happen, the dominoes falling. Give it a few more weeks, and sheds and garages getting broken into after stuff. And we may end up with a situation where someone may have been slightly prepared and may have tackled the said ne'er-do-well with something quick to hand, like a crossbow or something, and quite how that then would get addressed. Would it be, well, he had it coming because he shouldn't have been breaking into that person's garage? Oh, he had it coming, should have just waited to go shopping or whatever? Or is it be, oh, that person shouldn't have defended their own property, they should have just let him have it? But we gotta look after what we got. Family first, people first, pets, property. America got something called a Defense of Life and Property, DLP. Quite the intricacies of all of that. I like to think that we can look after our own stuff and should be able to use reasonable force in order to defend it. Be it, people trying to come into your porch or whatever, knocking the doors down, grabbing your car keys and, making off with stuff, or getting through you into your shed. So that's one thing I'm not looking forward to with a situation that's coming up. As things could possibly get more desperate, and the law enforcement are going to get a little bit stretched with everything else. Goodness knows what else they're going to get pulled into doing. So that was one of my concerns. One thing that is going to be coming soon is, well, if we're not supposed to have contact with most people and big gatherings, what happens with courts, magistrates, weddings, christenings, funerals? Aren't they mass gatherings? It's like, courts, how's that going to work? Magistrates, how's that going to hurt? Hearings, how's that going to work? Yeah. Queen popped off to Windsor Castle early. What's all that about? And then with all the emphasis and the complete and utter focus that not just the news, the first item is what's going on, but almost every single news slot is filled up with. I made a notice on, I think sometime last week, the death toll came out of Italy. They say it was 30 or something passed away. And then straight away the DJ went, and moving forward with some great music in the 70s radio station, it's ELO, where the DJ made no passing comment, and up to that point hadn't, when the last couple of days DJs are now talking about it. So it's not a case of it's the radio station's job in order to distract us and get our mind off of stuff. There's nothing else to think about at the moment. I've always considered stuff like sport and stadium sports events as a bit like the Colosseum in Rome, where there could be all sorts of crap going on in the empire, but as long as there's a big thing to keep the masses entertained once a week, all they remember is that. You read the newspaper, bad story, read the newspaper, bad story, read the newspaper, bad story, get to the last few pages of sport. And that's the last thing that's in your mind as you go through the paper. Do you remember what was in the news quite so well, quite so easily, because the sport was last? The news events are like that. And they're able to sort of gloss over a lot of all the things that could be grim by using sporting events, the sport at the end of the news thing, as a way of just like brightening the mood. We ain't gonna be getting that. So first up, other news that may well have merited a headline ain't gonna make it. We ain't gonna know about it. Should we know about it? What's going on that ain't quite of the magnitude of this pandemic, that really we need to be knowing what's going on? So that's one thing to do with it. And the other one is this. If this is all that we're digesting, it's not good news. It's not edifying, it's not going to cheer us up at the end of the thing just to take the brunt off of it. So people's mental health is going to be taking a bit of a smash. Not just with everything that's going on, but we haven't got that little lift at the end of the newspaper and that little ray of thing at the end of the news bulletins, because they go to the sport or the and finally, and you get that funny little nugget at the end of the news. So I was just saying, mental health's going to take a hell of a battering. So keep your wits about you. Consider security if you've got dry goods or something in sheds, outhouses, things around, outbuildings in your property. Make sure they can't see through windows. Put some nails and curtains up or something. Get yourself another fire extinguisher just in case, because a few of you could end up doing more stove stuff. Yeah, fire extinguisher. I got 2 in my house, and I got an old one in the garage. Top your fuel tank up, because that'll be the next thing. Stay safe. And what I was thinking of doing is like a check-in vid once a week. There's prepper groups on Facebook and other things where people are checking in, but it's quite a time-consuming. You could end up really losing hours constantly going backwards and forwards. And if somebody hasn't got quite that much time, I'm going to do something like this as a sort of prepper check-in, and you could just watch, do the listen, and just leave a thing about what's going on in your region underneath, just to let everybody else know how you're finding it, the concerns you have, news events that may have happened in your area that really would have been higher up in the news, and because of this they're getting quashed and how they're maybe not getting addressed as effectively as beforehand. And just let us know how things are going, especially for magistrate, small claims court, weddings, how's Anyway, this is a first of the prepper check-ins. Hope everybody stays safe, and yeah, not good. I've got to the point where I'm coming in from the supermarket job, and now it's take all my clothes off, they go in a wash. Say I've took my hair off, clean myself up here, because the virus stays on hair and clothes. It's a lot to think about, and I think treating it like the pandemic that it is, if you consider that the guys would go out in suits and then come in and then scrub everything off, that's the way we're gonna have to sort of maybe be. If you pop out, take your dog for a walk, come in, take those clothes off, put them out of the way, maybe leave them in the direct sunlight, shower, have a bath, lather yourself up, rinse it all off, because it's the lather that kills it, lather that kills it. But yeah, different world, different life. But we prep for it in some ways. Yeah, we had it, but a long drawn out thing like this, whereas before we'd be like, floods, disaster, economic collapse for a few weeks. This thing's going to go on for months, and everything's going to crop up and compound the situation. So, as I say, drop a comment, see how you're getting on. Areas you may have noticed. I've just done one on a few extra tips to just then not to catch this if you can help it. But just keep your ear to the ground, keep your wits about you. It's got Wessex Blades. Thanks for joining me, and I'll check in maybe once a week on a prepper check-in, something like this, about what may be happening. But keep your eye out for other ideas that I'm coming up with. I've just done another silicone mould. Just a big one, like this. Done another one of those, so that'll be coming out in the next couple of days. I'm moving forward with orders. But say the last 2 days I've been trying to tidy the ship up here, get the food away. Yeah, this isn't a blizzard 3-day event. This isn't a lorry driver strike 3-week event. We're gonna be in this for months. So yeah, try and keep positive, and let's see how well we can do. It's got Wessex Blades out. Thanks for joining me again.